Think about the last piece of plastic you touched today. Maybe it was a bottle. Maybe it was food wrapping. Maybe it was something so small that you did not even notice it. Plastic is everywhere in our lives. It is light. It is strong. It is flexible. It protects medicine. It keeps food fresh. It saves lives in hospitals. We often hear that plastic is the enemy. But that idea feels too simple. Because plastic itself is not evil. The problem is how it is made, how it is used, and how it is left behind. When we slow down and really look at this story, something surprising appears. The solution might already be alive. The context matters. For many years we have treated plastic as a miracle material. We built a whole system around it. We pull it from oil. We shape it fast. We sell it cheap. We throw it away. Then we ask people to recycle and feel responsible. We tell individuals to separate waste carefully. We tell them to use less. We tell them to feel guilty. But the system stays the same. Production keeps growing. Recycling stays limited. Most plastic never becomes plastic again. It becomes smoke. Or it becomes landfills. Or it becomes tiny pieces in water and soil. So the pressure lands on people while the system continues untouched. That is where the tension lives. The first insight is the surface concept. We believe plastic waste is mainly a behavior problem. We think if people cared more, sorted better, consumed less, the problem would shrink. This idea sounds reasonable. It feels fair. It gives us something to do. But it hides a deeper truth. Even the most careful person cannot fix a broken system alone. If every product is wrapped in plastic, choice disappears. If alternatives do not exist, responsibility becomes a trap. You can avoid one straw. But you cannot avoid the packaging of everything you buy. This creates frustration. People try. They fail. They feel tired. Meanwhile, production keeps rising. The surface solution never touches the root. The second insight sits underneath. We assume that sustainability means doing less harm. Recycling more. Using less. Cleaning up after ourselves. But true sustainability also means changing origin. Not just end of life. If a material is designed to stay forever, it will stay forever. No matter how good our intentions are. When plastic is made from oil, it carries that history. It carries extraction, pollution, and long life without purpose. Recycling helps a little. But recycled plastic loses quality. It needs fresh material mixed in again. So even recycling depends on new oil plastic. This is why production grows even when recycling grows. It is a loop that looks green but stays gray. The hidden assumption is that we can clean our way out of a design problem. We cannot. Design decides fate. The third insight is the structural pattern. Nature does not create waste. In natural systems, one process feeds another. What is left over for one becomes food for someone else. Leaves fall. Microorganisms eat them. Soil grows richer. Nothing is useless. Our industrial system forgot this logic. We create materials that have no eater. No end. No return path. They accumulate. They break into smaller pieces but never disappear. This is why plastic pollution feels endless. But when we look closer at nature, we see teachers everywhere. Bacteria are one of them. They are ancient. Invisible. Powerful. They survive by adapting. Some bacteria learn to store energy inside themselves. They learn to transform food into useful material. They do not ask permission. They respond to conditions. This pattern matters. Because it shows that production does not have to be violent. It can be circular. It can happen where waste is created. It can turn leftovers into resources. This leads to a reframing. What if plastic could be grown instead of extracted? What if waste could be the start, not the end? What if materials were designed to return to life instead of fighting it? When bacteria are guided to do what they already know how to do, something changes. Organic waste becomes feed. Feed becomes material. Material behaves like plastic but carries a different story. It melts. It flows. It shapes. But when it escapes into nature, it does not poison. It breaks down. It becomes food again. No microfragments that last for decades. Just a quiet return. This is not about replacing everything overnight. It is about showing another path exists. One that works with life instead of against it. Application to daily life starts with shifting blame. When you see plastic waste, do not only ask what did people do wrong. Ask how was this material designed. Ask why this was the only option. Ask who decided this form was acceptable. Support systems that change production, not just behavior. When companies turn waste into value on site, something powerful happens. Waste stops being a cost. It becomes a resource. Mentality shifts. People stop asking how to get rid of waste and start asking how to use it better. This is where real change begins. It is quiet. It is practical. It does not rely on guilt. It relies on logic. Optional deepening helps us feel hope without illusion. Bacteria will not save the planet alone. No single solution will. But this approach changes the story we tell ourselves. It shows that industry can learn from biology. It shows that materials can be designed with an end in mind. It shows that accountability belongs where decisions are made. Not only where trash is thrown. When waste is transformed locally, transport drops. Emissions drop. Jobs appear. Value stays nearby. This creates resilience. It also creates dignity. People are no longer asked to clean up a mess they did not choose. They are invited into a system that makes sense. And there is something emotional here too. Bacteria are often seen as enemies. As threats. As things to kill. But they are also helpers. Builders. Quiet workers. When we change how we see them, we change how we see life. Power does not always look big. Sometimes it looks small and patient. Sometimes it works in silence. The idea that something invisible can solve a visible crisis reminds us to stay humble. Nature has been solving problems for billions of years. We are new learners. We do not need to dominate. We need to listen. This approach does not say plastic must disappear. It says plastic must belong. Belong in a cycle. Belong in a system where nothing is left behind. When material returns to nature without harm, fear softens. When waste becomes value, responsibility becomes shared. This is not about perfection. It is about direction. A marathon, not a sprint. Each step matters. Each ton transformed matters. Each system changed matters. So when you think about the plastic you touched today and the systems that created it, you might ask yourself what would change if our materials were designed from the beginning to behave like living things?